Ag Science 305 here. Apologize for the delay on this one. I had some issues with recording equipment, so we're going to keep our fingers at this cross that this works. Module 13 here. This is part 2 to our entrepreneurship projects with our cattle. We have some show steers and some breeding cattle. In Module 13, though, if you've taken a look at it, we now we're going to do a couple of different things with the breeding heifer that we retain, and then we're going to put her into our breeding cattle operation after she's done being shown. So you'll find this week we have our assignment here that you'll be doing just like we did in the past weeks. Make sure you get a complete SAE report for each of the SAEs that we do this week. So that will be the breeding cattle, that will be the show heifer, and then we'll also have show steers again. So let's get going here. So here is our scenario here on the right. This module, as it says here, we have show steers 2016, show heifer 2016, and breeding beef. This is already set up, but it is a continuation. So let's get in here and let's add those new projects that we need to. So let's put our show heifer 2016 in. It's an individual, entrepreneurship, animal systems, beef. This is going to be show cattle. And then now this time we're still going to use the market replacement manager for this this show heifer. It's not yet a breeding herd manager, and I'll show you how we use that animal as we go. So let's go save, and let's get one more. Let's get our show steers 2016. Show cattle again, and these are going to be market manager as well. All right, so we've got those projects now. We're working with 3 projects that are turned on. Your screen should look like that. Make sure you take care of the SAE plans. You can see I've been terrible about doing my plans, but for the sake of time in these videos, I don't go through that. So make sure you get in here and update those plans. Your plan should be completed for your breeding cattle project. It's something you have to do again. Okay. One of the things that you can do is you can copy an SAE plan from before, and you can add new details. So take a look at that about copying from the show steers 2014 for show steers 2016 and going forward with that. So let's get down here, some of these financial entries. For the show steers, it's going to be just like Module 12, and so I'm not going to go through those with you specifically, and I don't think that you need me to. The only thing this time is that we're going to split out these 2 entries because they are separate, different values. If you remember before, we plugged in one value of, I think it was $4,000 for 2 head. And AET picked up on that and said, oh, okay, you got 2 heads, so that means each of them are $2,000 a piece. In this situation, you want to, because they're different prices, we'll go in and put them on different lines. All right, as we come on down through here, you've got a remember, or if we, from Module 12, that we have a non-cash exchanged labor entry here for $100. So make sure you put that in the correct spot. You got a couple of sales there, and then don't forget to do your annual review. Now let's come on down here. This is going to be our show heifer project. So this is where it gets a little interesting, and I'm going to walk through this with you. So we still have that heifer from Module 12 that we retained. I think it's like A145, I believe, is her tag number. So let's go in there. We're going to transfer that offspring, and we're going to put her into another project. So Um, I'll walk you through how that looks. So let's go over here in our finances, breeding herd manager, manage breeding animals, and let's get into managing offspring. And you'll see here, once we get into managing offspring, we still have a 145 left. So let's go in here and let's choose transfer. And now we can transfer from breeding cattle to another project. So let's look at the value. It says the value is 1,500. And you'll see now, because we have those projects in there, we can transfer her to the show heifer project of 2016. Let's see, she's about 600 pounds. We'll hit save. Now she's been transferred, and we can see that. So she's no longer in our breeding project. But if we come back in here and look at our market manager, we can look at which project we're in, and we can see now we have an animal in here, a 145, that's in our market manager for our show heifers. So now we've successfully transferred that animal. So, alrighty, so we've transferred that. But then what I'd like you to do, so then you've got these different entries that you'll make here. And then you've got another non-cash exchange labor. Excuse me. But then what we notice here is that it's asking us to now transfer to capital. So what this represents is that this breeding animal came out of our breeding herd, went into our show heifer project, and now we're going to put her back into our breeding herd. We decided that, you know what, the best thing we can do with her is put her back into our breeding operation and use her as a replacement heifer. So now what do we do with this animal? We're going to come in here on our market livestock manager under show heifer, and we're going to transfer to capital this time. Not just transfer, but transfer to capital. Our value now is $2,800, and she's going to be transferred, and her weight now is 1,250 pounds. She grew up nicely. You know that she's going to go over here as a non-depreciable pleasure of breeding livestock, and the reason she's non-depreciable is because we've raised her from a baby. So now it's grayed out. That animal has been transferred. So let's go back into now our breeding herd manager. And I've since I had issues with my recording equipment, I already did this once, and I forgot to delete the other one out of there. So I actually have two of them in there now. But let's go ahead and we're going to add a 145 to the one of them to our dams in this SAE. So here we go. Now I have 4 cows in my project, and we can manage breeding animals. So now we have a 145 in here, and she has not yet had a calf. So here's our project with that. So before you move on, make sure you get the annual review for the show heifer project done, and you can do that. You get right back into your project experience manager, and you get over here into annual review. Okay. Now let's come down here, and you've got a few entries to do for the breeding cattle. Looks like we had another good year for our breeding season, and we have 4 calves to assign. Looks like we had a couple of typos in there though, so please disregard those. But anyways, here's what you have with this new project. So we've got our new cows in here, and now we can manage breeding animals. And remember, we can manage offspring, right? So that's one way to manage them. But what happens if I want to give a new offspring to 114, right? She had calf B114. Well, right here you can go new offspring and record that offspring for A114. Okay, so just as a reminder. All right, and so go through that is very similar to what module 13, or I'm sorry, module 12 looked like. But one thing that is going to be different this year for this module is that I'm asking you to do some year-end adjusted values for your SAEs. And this is going to be in the breeding SAE. And so one of the things that we want to look at is that breeding SAE is a good example. We have a large hay investment in October of $1,500 that in December 2017 has $1,300 remaining in terms of value. And we also have 3 unweaned calves that are remaining worth an estimated $3,000. So that'll be a total of $4,300, but we're going to look at these 2 independent values alone. To get to that point, we're going to get back into our experience manager. And over here under our breeding cattle project, this little line graph deal here, we're going to look at market value inventory. Click on that. And we are in year December 2017. So we're going to add a new asset. And this asset, if we look here, one of them is going to be feed, seed, fertilizer. It's going to be that hay crop. And the quantity, we didn't give a quantity, but you could say that there is, how much is there, 1,300? That might be, let's say that's 7 tons of hay. So we'll put in what exactly the, well, let's do that. Actually, I messed that up. So we'll go 7 tons, we'll go coastal hay, and then what's the value? And the value on that hay we said is 1,300 remaining. So we add that item, and then we've got another new asset that we're going to run here, and that is going to be those raised animals. And so it says raised market animals, and at this time you would say, well, they're part of the breeding project, but the possibility that they will be added into a market project is going to be high. So we would say that we have a quantity of 3, and we'll call these unweaned calves, and their value is $3,000, $1,000 a piece. Add that item. Now we have our 2 items in there for our year-end inventory adjustments. Okay, so make sure that you get in those. And then when we come back over here, the last part to this is make sure you hit your annual review again, get that done, get those photos in, and then single essay reports. You'll have 3 reports again in Module 13. Upload those into eCampus. You'll have the breeding cattle, the show steers, and show heifer for 2016. Like always, folks, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to email me or schedule time to come in and see me. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday, and I will be, you can contact me through email. I may not respond on Thursday, but the rest of the week I will respond. So, all right, folks, take care.